Good morning or afternoon. Hello, my crafty friends. How are we? All right, so give me a moment. I am trying to figure out how to see the chat because I don't see my chat here. So give me a second, and we are going to go live. So yeah, we are going to be working on some, I don't know why my focus is being weird. We're going to be working on upcycling some coasters. All right, so I am all right, so let me go down here just a second and do this. Nope. Yeah, so nothing's there either. Okay. Yeah, Jay, I don't see my chat. Oh, there we go. All right. Now that I got the chat working, so all right, so what we're going to be doing is we are going to be working on upcycling some coasters. So these are ones that I had previously done. And so that's what they used to look like because I didn't do the backs. And these are the new ones that we're going to work on. So we are going to start with some gesso. And this is just golden bright white acrylic primer gesso. And I have my glue gesso brush, and it's kind of gross and dirty. And I put lace on it so that way I know that I can only use this for my glue and my gesso. So I actually have two different sizes. And it's totally loose, but it's okay. I love it. It's a good little brush. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start covering this with some gesso. And I'm just working on some white butcher paper as my under paper. And under paper is just literally paper that you put under anything that you're working on to keep your surface from getting grimy or dungy or dirty or whatever. And then depending on what you're doing, if it looks cool after work, you could use it in journals or use it in other things. So, and excuse me, you can put as many coats as you want on. I'm going to do a couple. And brush strokes are fine. It kind of gives a little bit more texture, dimension, a little bit more interest or whatever. Alright, so we're going to do one with the gesso. We're going to do a couple different things here. And I'm going to clean my brush off. Alright, and then give that a little bit of a dry. We're going to set that aside. And then the next one we are going to use is I'm going to do a texture paste. Oh, and it's totally hard as a rock. I might need to see what happens when you don't use your supplies. Might need to see if I can loosen that up sometime. Alright, so we're not going to use that one. Just kidding. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to use some clear gesso. And we're going to add in a little instant coffee. And this is in a little container because I got that from a recent retreat I was at. So I'm just kind of blobbing this on, and I'm just totally playing here. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, what this is going to look like, what it's going to do, nothing. But that's kind of my jam. This is what I do. I just kind of play, and I just want to see what's going to happen when I do things. So, and I'm just going to put this clear over the white just so that I don't waste it. And it's not really going to change the white at all, but I'll just add a little bit more gesso to that. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, alright, I'm going to take my little eyedropper here, and I'm just going to kind of do some eyedropper of the coffee. And Then we're going to add some this is some walnut ink crystals. So this one is going to be more like a mixed media kind of chunky coaster. So this would be great for adding into a journal or something like that. And I'm just wiping that off. And I'm just going to add a little bit more. And I'm going to swirl that around, and then now I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to start drying it. I have this little tiny cooling rack here. I'm going to put this on top of it so that the heat goes through it and it'll actually dry quicker. Because there's actually a lot of liquid on here. But this will give some really cool puddles and dimension to those particular spots. And that walnut ink really is a fabulous brown. I'm really liking the color of that. Now, I did get some of that on my skin, so hopefully I don't break out or anything, because I am allergic to walnuts. But only if I eat them. I get canker sores. But I haven't ever played with, like walnut ink. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. But I'll let you know if something does. The great thing about adding the gesso first is anything you add on top of that isn't just going to absorb into this cardboard, into this basically thicker, cardstock. So alright, I think that's good, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to absorb a little bit of what didn't dry. But, I mean, how cool is that texture? Look. I mean, that's amazing. All right. So that's the second one. All right. Now, third one. We are I don't know what we're going to use because we were going to use the texture paste. So I wonder if this one's okay. Okay, this one looks okay. All right, so now we're going to take our palette knife and this is Tim Holtz Ranger texture paste, the matte. And we are going to so we're going to use kind of a little bit of the background here as a little bit of it as a we're going to cover some of it with the texture paste. So this is our grunge grid stencil from Creative Worship Stamps, and I am just smooshing it through there. And all right, now we're going to dry this really quick because we're going to keep adding layers. And I want to add more stencil and texture paste, but if I keep putting stencils down on top of that, it will keep smashing down that, and then it won't have that raised texture anymore. All right, now I think we will add in some bigger circles so we can get more coverage this time. And this is blotchy hearts and dots stencil from Creative Worship Stamps. So I am just, again, smooshing it through here, not like carefully or anything. And obviously I do not clean my stencils. It doesn't bother me. Alright. Now, we are going to, so now I want to take maybe the clear gesso, and I'm going to go in and around the texture paste so that when I add the ink and spray it, it doesn't just sink right into this coaster. I want to add, this will help repel it a little bit. And I want to add that in before I start drawing. Actually, I want to add that in because I want to add in some colors so it'll kind of seep into the texture paste while it's still wet. And again, we're just totally playing, no idea how this one's going to turn out, and we're doing 3 different ones. Alright, and if you're there and you're watching, make sure to say something in the chat so I can see you. Say hello. Alright, so now we are adding some color. And I just have some transparent like film. So this is like what you would use for like an overhead projector, you know, back in the day. And I just cut them down because these work really great for smooshing your inks on. And then spritzing down. And then adding in. And then adding, and then you can, you know, smush it down over. So now I'm looking for my spray bottle, which apparently is currently missing. Oh, there it is. All right. And this one was Broken China Distress Ink. And now the Distress inks are different than the Distress oxides because they are more transparent and they tend to layer a little bit better. So, and I know when Corinne watches this, she's just going to die because I just literally wiped all that off. So, yeah, sorry about that, Corinne. Alright, now I'm going to use a little bit of cracked pistachio. And I definitely need some re-inkers. Now we're just going to put this on our underpaper. Okay. And I think I want to add one more, but I think I'm going to, do some antique distress spray. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of water, kind of roll that around. Gives it a very grungy vintage vibe. All right, now again we are going to get our cooling rack and heat this so we can dry it, and it's just going to dry easier because the heat is going through it, because it's got air space underneath instead of just sitting directly on the table. Don't touch the metal, it gets really hot. All right, so now we have that one started. Okay. All right, I think to this I want to add in a little bit of white gesso so that when we go to stamp, there's just a little bit of, well, it'll be a great contrast, but then we'll have some space and for stampability. Now I'm just going to kind of dab it on a little bit with my brush first, and then I'm going to use my fingers to kind of give it more of a blended look instead of that brush look. And again, this is not perfect. We're not going for perfectionism. That's not my jam anyways. So, and this is apparently absorbing some of the brown, which is cool because then it, but we were kind of going for that white look. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Just kind of dabbing, and I don't know. I'm just playing right now. Seeing where this is going to take me. Now I've totally gotten rid of that really cool dark brown color, but couldn't really stamp on that. So it's okay. Now I'm just kind of blending and doing a couple little things here, giving it kind of a grungy look. And I'm thinking to continue on with this grungy look, I think I'm gonna, this one will be like, we'll add in some rust color and maybe some salvaged patina. Not really sure. We'll see where that one takes us. Okay. Now I'm going to turn on my louder, more robust heat tool to really get this dry. And I'm drying both sides just in case any moisture came through. And it's kind of funny, you can really smell the instant coffee through that. All right, let's go back to our first one here. And let's do a little ink blending. So let's see, I think we're gonna start with some salvaged patina. And we're just kind of going to add to wherever you want that color to stop. All right. There's not a set amount, or it's just kind of wherever. And there's no exactness. All right. All right. Then I think we're gonna go with peeled paint next, and I'm holding the sides, and I'm just kind of blend. I'm gonna blend a little bit of the colors together, and then kind of go from there. And then I'm leaving just a tiny sliver, like a pie slice, a little sliver, so for like the size of somebody who doesn't like pie. And I think we'll do peacock feathers. All right. Now, just going to dry that a little bit. All right, and now I think we're going to add in some worn lipstick. Stencil. Script stencil. This is seriously one of my favorites. And pink. Sure, why not? All right, so, and I'm just gonna kind of go, not over the whole thing, I'm just kind of going in a couple different places. Just to give a little bit in different, oh, I love that. Yes, looks so good. Okay, now should definitely do some, maybe some oval mesh. And I think we need to do that in a little bit of these peacock feathers. And again, we're just adding in a little bit here and there. No rhyme or reason, just giving it a little bit more depth and texture and layers like that. All right. All right, now we're going to set that one aside. And let's go back. All right, so let's add some more color to our, this is our texture paste. All right, so let's add in some peacock feathers. That's apparently sticky right there. And then some salvaged patina. Just add that in the middle, like that. Maybe on this little edge right here. All right, I think I want to add these shabby shutters to the top. And we have those other layers in there, and it's totally fine because when we add in some spritzing and the water, it's going to disperse everything. And it's going to look great. All right. Now, let's put those up there. And let's see. All right. So, what do I want to do? Let's add a little bit of mist first. And then I get a paper towel and we're going to just take off the mist. And that was a lot that it took off. That's cool. Redo. It's okay. We got plenty of ink. We got plenty of time. That's funny. Alright, so now we're re-adding in our colors. Some of this and some of that, and they're definitely not in the same places that they were because I don't remember, and that's okay. Make sure we put those on the right things because that would be exciting. And shabby shutters. All right. Now this time we're just going to do just a little bit of drops. There we go. Now we're going to let that sit for a second. And we're just going to kind of take up where those spots were. Like so. All right. Now we're going to give that a dry, and then we're going to add in some stencils. Okay. But that napkin is going to cut that out. That would make like a cool kind of moon or sun shape or something like that. That would be awesome. So save that. All right. Now we are going to add our Mix It Up stencil. And I think we are going to use I think we're going to do picked raspberry. I feel like that's too big, so we're going to use that for something else. All right. And we're going to use our little finger dauber here. To add in some of these. And I'm feeling like we need some sort of, I really like these little cracks. See these cracks right here? I really think I want to add some embossing glaze there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. A little piece of plastic, and I'm going to use the distressed mica stain. And I'm going to paintbrush the mica stain into like the little valley right here. Like so. Alright, like that. And then, I should have done this first, but you know, best laid plans. I'll take a little embossing static thing, and I'm just going to tap this where I don't want some of the embossing powder glaze to go. It'll help a little bit. Just in case some of this is still a little bit tacky. Alright, now we need a scratch piece of paper. And embossing glaze, and I'm going to use picked raspberry embossing glaze, and I am just going to put it again the best that I can, kind of right down in the little valley of where it was. And if I get some somewhere else, it's okay. Just did a little tappy tap off. And if you do get some where you don't want it, just give it a little wipey wipe off. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. And the embossing glaze is really cool because it's translucent. So it's still embossing powder, but when it dries, it's translucent. But I did use the mica stain as the liquid to emboss it with. So, hey Corinne! So it'll be interesting to see how clear it'll actually be, because I did use the mica stain to do it. And I'm turning on my loud embossing gun because it's it'll be faster, and it's got a lot more heat to melt the plastic. All right, so now there it is. So now that's what we have looked like. This is, remember, this is the texture paste one, and you can kind of see the little circles from the blotchy circle stencil, and the mesh, oval mesh circles under there. Now I did cover up my stencil from the mixed up stencil, the kind of valley that I went over it, but that's okay. And you can actually kind of still see some of the coaster underneath, some of the writing, which is kind of cool. It's very faint. You can just see some of the words, which is cool. It's just another layer. All right, so we're going to set that one aside. I'm going to go back to our coffee one. So again, this one was our clear gesso that we added instant coffee to, and our walnut ink crystals, and then we added a little bit of white gesso, which then turned it into a kind of a muddied mess, but that's okay. We're gonna go with it. So I'm going to add some Rusty Hinge. Because Rusty Hinge with grunge is really good. All right, so now, excuse me. So, what shall we do? I feel like we should stamp with some gears on this one to really go with the whole grunge. So give me a second while I find my gears stamp set. Here it is. And then, you know what, while we're at it, we might as well use the gear stencil. All right, so we're going to start with the background with a little bit of a gear stencil. So let's see. What do we want to start with? How about maybe the Rusty Hinge ink? All right, so we're using the Distress ink. And again, this is kind of translucent. It's not going to be very vibrant. It's going to make it a great background color. We'll be able to layer over it. So it's just very, very faint. Okay? And I know you can't really tell what it is, but we know it's there. Just another layer. Now we could add like let's see, so if we did that, so we could totally do that. You know what's great? This is just ink. This is ink on cardboard. Thick paper. You don't like it? Throw it away. Or paint over it. It's not rocket science. It's not permanent. It's okay. Alright? We're just kind of just layering these three little gears. Like that. Okay? Cool. We'll wipe all those stencils down later. I'll spray them and schmutz them down on my underpaper. Alright. Then we're going to just give that a quick dry. Now I'm curious if okay. Let's stomp. Now we're going to stamp with the oxides because they're both a pigment and a dye ink combined, and they're definitely more opaque, so you'll be able to see it a lot more. Then also we can emboss it, and then that'll also add a little bit more if we did like a clear embossing or something, you'd be able to see more texture or whatnot. So I'm going to do a little bit of both. So I'm using my VersaFine Clear just to add in some of these little dots, these little grungy dots into there, all right? Now I do actually clean off my stamps. It's one thing that I do clean off. All right, now we're going to use the gear stamp. And stamp that in Rusty Hinge, and that looks really good. And then I think I might do the smaller one here in the salvaged patina. Kind of like that. Okay. And this is also, this stamp set is Gears Up, and this is from Creative Worship Stamps. And then, let's see, I think I'm going to do these little tiny gears. Alright, so I did that one and Rusty Hinge, and then we're going to do the next one in Salvaged Patina, and I'm gonna go over it best I can. Just kind of give it a little bit of a layered look, but you can kind of see it. And then same right there, but it's just like a second impression. All right. now we are going to add some clear embossing powder, just so that you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that. It has a little bit of shimmer left in it. Alright, there you have it. There's that one. So what do we have here? So we have this one and this one. Alright, this one definitely needs a big stamp on top. So I'm feeling like we should use maybe I don't know. I changed my mind. Instead of a big stamp, I feel like I want to do a mushroom and butterfly. And I'm going to use my VersaFine. Okay. And then little tap, 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 tap. And I'm just kind of masking this mushroom so that it doesn't overlap it. Like so. Like that. And then we are going to add our butterfly now. maybe this one. All right, so there's that. This stamp set, just in case you wanted to know, is Vintage Nature Elements. From Creative Worship Stamps, and that's how that one turned out. That one's really cool. I like that one. All right, this one's totally grungy. And it's okay. I like grunge. I feel like it needs a pop of gold. Whoop. We're just kind of mopping up the gold that I accidentally spilled here because don't want to waste that. All right, now that I've just gotten gold all over everything, Okay, so now we just need, this one's done. We just need a little bit of like an image or a saying. Or something like that on these two. So let's see. We are looking for an image or a saying. All right. So I have my little box of images and sayings here. Feeling like I'm going to use this butterfly that I have pre-stamped and colored in. And I don't know why, but this is what I want to put on here. So I'm just going to use my art glitter glue. And This would be great. I think I'm going to use these ones to add to journal pages or insert into a junk journal. I feel like that's definitely what I'm going to do with these. Alright, now these I've totally stamped on like wet paper. So, and they're like totally torn and grungy. So it kind of goes with this look. I'm feeling like I need to now this is a totally pre-stamped image, but for this purpose I'm kind of making him a little bit smaller and grungier. He's just a little bit more in distress. Very fitting for this. For this piece, I think. Oops, and his wing just broke off, but we can glue him back together. See? No problem. No matter. Alright. And I think that's it for that's what's in there. Alright. And then I think, I don't know if this, not sure if that pen doesn't really work very well. So, alright. All you have to do is just keep going. So 3 totally different and unique upcycled coasters. This one is totally grunge, rusty, steampunk. This one's a little grunge, but, you know, happy, kind of like my life. Maybe that's why I was drawn to it. It's definitely got the whole grunge feel, lots of textures and layers, but, you know, happy and positive. And then this one is just simple layers with colors, stenciled images, and stamps. It's a great way to upcycle any coasters that you may have laying around, or now you want to, you know, start collecting them when you go out to a restaurant. Just another way to, if you go on a trip or go somewhere with your friends or your husband or your boyfriend or wherever, create another memory. They'd be great to make junk journals out of, make a great cover for the journal. So yeah, I hope that you enjoy this. Hey Jen, thank you. Yeah, so I'm glad that you joined me today, and this video will now be live, and you can rewatch it anytime. And I thank you for joining me today, and I will be doing these once a week. That's my goal. Once a week you can join me for a creative chatty session. So hopefully future ones will be a little bit more chatty. Have a great Friday, everybody. Bye.